Hey everybody, this live stream starts with an update. This is, as you can see, this is a live shot of Allegiant Stadium at night. And we're going to review the considerable progress that has been made uh, in building the new home of the Oakland Raiders in Las Vegas. Um, and I think it should be noted, excuse me, that a number of apparent hurdles that were standing in the way of the project appear to have been cleared, and they clearly have more money to focus on the structure of the roof and getting back to a footing toward completion. I still don't believe the stadium will be ready by or substantially completed by July 31st. And I don't believe it'll be ready for a full NFL season until late September. But on the other hand, that's what the schedule points to anyway. So to me, there will be no surprise if that happened. Um, it's to a point now where you can look at the stadium and really grasp exactly how this thing is going to behave as a physical unit in Las Vegas and as an economic unit and as a tourist unit. It's I have to give it to Mark Davis. If it was his idea to have this, or he approved it to have it black and have this race car look, it looks even better in reality than it does in drawing form or model form. It is very unique, it's very stylistic. Um, it's, dare I say, very sexy if you can make such a statement about a stadium, right? Yeah, I'm gushing. I think it looks fantastic. It would have looked great in Oakland, of course it would have. But hey, look, we can't reverse time. Um, and what's the famous saying now? Is what it is, right? So, and as I've said, how many umpteenth times? So much that I'm tired of hearing myself say it, but it is true. The Raiders need, pure and simple, not the Raiders, but Las Vegas has wanted and needed, pure and simple, for some time, a large scale events center. Going back to 2011, there is evidence that um, she wanted that. Okay, so women claims affair with Mary Brown's quarterback Baker Mayfield. Ooh. Anyway, I just popped up right here. Hold on a second, folks. Let's a momentary segue in life, right? Look at that. She's woman claims. Okay, somebody wants their 15 minutes of fame, and it looks like someone got at least 35 minutes of YouTube fame, right? At least with that video, I just happened to see that popped up. Okay. Um, yeah. Anyway, um, where were we? The stadium issue. Yes, 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 yes. I am also right now promoting the video for others to watch on through Facebook and Twitter and everything else as you come in. Also note the title says rain. And you can tell by the way I use my walk. Anyway, you can tell that you can tell that it it rained inside because of the photograph I'm about to show you. A and B. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering where I'm at, I'm in Chicago right now. Um, you can tell that, and then there's a gigantic series of tarps covering over what will be the press boxes on either side. I mean, they're huge. Um, you'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. And all in all, it's exciting. I mean, I'm telling you, the facility, when it's finished, is going to transform Las Vegas in a great way. It will not save Las Vegas from the economic turmoil to come because of the decline in gambling. But the faster sports can become part of the gambling ecosystem, the better Las Vegas fares with this facility. It also needs a basketball facility, and it's too bad that Jackie Robinson didn't get his facility off the ground. I don't quite know where that is, and I still need to track that man down. We've talked about that for years now. But Las Vegas, if you're wondering what I mean by the transition, let me explain this for a second before I go to the stadium. Then I'll get to the stadium. But I'm just waiting for people to come in, okay? Um, we're in a situation now where you and I, can be at a casino anywhere in the United States within 1 hour's drive of where we might be. Okay? And that is now. 30 years ago, that was not the case. And 30 years ago, you might have had an Indian gaming facility here and there, right? But you didn't have so many facilities that they're within an hour's drive of a city, at at least, okay? And not only that, the gaming facilities in existence then were not first run. They were not first rate. And so today you have the Guitar Hotel in Hollywood, Florida, outside of Miami, where I was for the culinary kickoff Super Bowl 54 party. Culinary kickoff classic. Great food, great people. Whew. And that facility, the Guitar Hotel, is shaped like a guitar, approximately 40 stories high. And for special events, the guitar strings. The guitar strings are actually lasers blasting high in the air. Okay, I have a video I still haven't put up with that. I need to. And I have never seen anything like it. It's one thing for someone to describe it, but you can't appreciate it until you've actually seen it. And you would say, okay, who made it? It's called the Seminole Hard Rock Cafe Hotel. It is an Indian gaming facility that cost $1,500,000,000 to make. That's today. That's the situation today. Okay? So all of those examples, these abundance of places to gamble, hurt the place that when I was growing up was the only place to gamble other than Atlantic City, and that was Las Vegas in the American context. Okay. So what happens when you have this proliferation of facilities? What happens when you can go on the internet and gamble? Well, it hurts MGM big time. It hurts Boyd Gaming to a lesser extent because of its ownership base, but it hurts casinos in Las Vegas because you're less likely to go to Las Vegas just for that. Sheldon Adelson saw the writing on the wall decades ago and decided, along with the gentleman who created the New York, and Paris hotel concept, to form the Las Vegas that we know of today as the adult Disneyland, right? With these themed hotels and these outsized rooms and characters and everything else. That was another way of reinventing Las Vegas to reflect a society that was less interested in just gambling and more interested in being entertained. And that trajectory continues. Okay. So now we have a stadium facility that is expected to host not just football. Here it is, not just football, but this exciting facility is expected to host 46 large events annually. That's a tall order. So when you hear about this news that there may be a fight here or another fight there or even soccer, that basically is reflective of the Raiders and AEG's attempt, though arguably not successful at this point, to book a number of events. Talk is one thing, but until you can go to a website and order tickets for these events, it's meaningless. And that spells a problem. So, but let's take a look at we've talked enough about bad news. Let's take a look at some of the good news that has occurred with this, okay? Let's take a look at some of the archives, see where we've been at. This was a February 23rd day, and you can see how they're starting to install the membrane here. First part of the membrane, see this? And this is a new development. The 19th, only 2 panels existed here. Now it's here. Now it's here. And if we take a look, go up a bit here, take a look at the interior view. That's what we see. Okay, you can see right here, which means the camera is what? The camera is over there, because this means I-15 is over here, which means the doors are here, right? So you can see how this sheathing is covered over. All right. And that is not by any means the only part. This is just the first portion, okay? So then look at the ground. You see how wet this is? All right. See how this, so I was talking about as far as this being covered over and the press box up here. All right. So getting toward the rainy season, which doesn't seem to have slowed things down too much, but it did a bit. We can also see something else I think is critical in terms of evaluating the progress of this project, and it's this. You can't tell from this dark area, but this second set of curtain walls back here starting is filled in way up at the top. Okay, here. And let's take a look at this one. It's slightly better. You can't scroll up high with this one. I can't see all the way to the top there. Wonder why. But at any rate, there's still a considerable long way to go. And we're marching toward March 1st here. Another new development. You see this? Okay. That's finally formed in. And that is eventually going to be replicated all around here. These are open still. Okay. So there is, I mean, I keep saying there's a long way to go, but look, there's a long way to go. There really is. But again, but also, you can now see what this is going to look like. But they have the seats to put in, the finishings. You can see they've started on the edges around here with the grass areas here. But they can't do it all at once. They have to do it in the proper sequence. And they're at a point now where much of the stadium is finished. And they still have to get through the rough patch of completing this thing. But here's something that I think is really cool outside. Look at this. Let me see if I can go back a bit. This is massively cool. This sheathing, you see that? Okay. All right. Yeah, Willie, there's a ton of work to be done. There really is. Without question. Let me see if I can get this right. Here's archive. Yeah, all right. It's 23rd day. Let's move forward a little bit. But let's move backward. I'm going to move backward, and I want you to see, watch what happens here and here, okay? Let's move backward in the days and the time first. Okay? Going from 7:20 in the morning on February 23rd to, this is February 22nd at night. This is February 22nd at 3 o'clock, 2:40, 12 noon in the morning. It's the 21st. And you can see how the weather has changed over that period of time too. Let's go all the way back to, and look at this. 21, 20. And 20 again. You see this? They started working on that on the 19th. There. See that? See? So you had the two panels here. Okay. Now let's move forward. So February 19th at 5:40, they had two panels in place, and prior to that, they had roughly one. We keep going back. And back. And back to here. February 17th, that morning, and we had nothing. Okay, so let's move forward. Keep your eye on the roof. See how this comes in? Okay. Let's keep going. Day. See how they grab the cane, they're pulling this over, all right? See the other different cranes? This crane for the roof work. Crane they haven't had before. Took it down, then it's back. And you can see this is forming. And continues. As we go forward, we'll notice something. Here. See these cranes going along? These cranes were brought in to finish the roof sheathing and there. See, look. All right. Now, as those are working, look here. Just working on the piping and other additions. There. See that? Filling in the blanks with materials. Literally, because those were blank areas. But in total, this piping's still largely incomplete, okay? There's faint outlines, but the design has it interconnected. Moving up to the 23rd. See that sheathing? And then at night, look at that effect. That's actually lit. That's not backlit. That's this lighting up it, okay? And that's where we're pretty much at. Let's go back. There was a time, not too long ago, when Las Vegas had some rainy weather. And that rain managed to find its way into the stadium. Now, I want you to see this. Look, look, look. See this? Keep your eye here. Look at this. Right there. See? Look at this. Okay? Just filling that in. Then here as well, they have, count, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the other side, 7, 8. Actually, that's the same structure there, so no. 7 cranes at work. And there may be, 7 cranes at work that we can see. That is among the most we've seen at any one shot working on this stadium. What that tells me, I see that, it means that their money is coming in. And their materials are coming in. And it tells me that the downtime that they had a few weeks ago reflected the fact that either materials or money or both had not arrived. Now they have, and so they're going at a good clip. But look at the pavement here. No, this wasn't sprayed down to keep it wet. No, this was, go back a bit, this was due to water, okay? See how that dried up a bit? Okay? See that? Okay. There. Keep going, 19th. And that is interesting. Interestingly, okay, we have a dry pavement here. 17th. Okay. It's hard to tell how much rain. Yeah, there was Corey Brown says, I wonder if they got dumped on by the same Phoenix storm. That's a good question. I mean, it's clear. I went through Twitter and I looked at the weather reports. It's clear that rain occurred, but it's hard to say or tell. I mean, it wasn't anything like the kind of rains we've seen, pummel it in the past, right? And I'm wondering, To what degree? Oh, look, see those lights? Look at this. Keep on. Look at that. Work lights. See that? Look. That is at 6 in the morning. See that? 6 in the morning. Something was going on. What's going on at 6 in the morning? Interesting. Quite interesting. And this is the 16th at 7 in the morning. When this is one crane, okay, as this is, all right, we're employed. So the progress is considerable. They're started sheathing the roof. That process is going to take through May in its entirety. But they also have to grow the field, the grass. That takes time as well. They have to make sure that the systems used to move it in and out work. Mario says one thing is that they have 8 days of clear weather. You know, I will say one thing, that this year, unlike last, has really blessed Las Vegas, because if you remember last year at this time, whew, boy, oh boy, oh boy, if it wasn't snow, it wasn't, okay, yeah, that, yeah, the grass is only being grown. Yeah, it takes that takes a while. That takes a while, and but it's good they're starting it now. Um, but my point is that I would say much of, I mean, I don't want to declare this clear sailing because of the whole money issue, but with MGM's involvement, they've really stepped up the pace. MGM will not settle for a losing effort. That's what I like about MGM Resorts. You know, they've gone through their problems, but um, what MGM is going through is a function of what's happening in the gambling industry as a whole in Las Vegas. And now we have the virus that's going to impact Macau as well. Okay. So not gonna not gonna stop paying attention to it. And like I said, it's on a good clip. About time. The problem would seem to be the number of sponsors. The unknown, however, is, you know, how much money MGM has put in. But given MGM's overall financial straits, I seriously doubt they have made an investment that will cause them to turn around and say, "Are we going to get our money back?" Um, did you really think? No, no. That was Mario. That was never my thought at all. I think you're new to this. Okay. Um, so let me explain. You're new by years. All right. So I've been talking about this for years now. My thought originally was that when Mr. Adelson entered the fray and brought Mark Davis to Las Vegas, game over, because he's worth 35 billion. He was spending his own personal fortune. And Jerry Jones personally told me that he believed Adelson and his team, as he put it to me, would be excellent NFL owners. He said that to me during the fall NFL owners meeting in Houston in 2016, because I asked him straight up, "Hey, how do you feel about Sheldon Adelson, a gambling tycoon, being part owner of the Oakland Raiders?" And the answer that I got back was what I just told you. So uh, when he stepped out, there were a number of people in the media who don't understand financing who were saying, well, they'll be replaced by Bank of America. You don't, as a bank, replace. There was another mistake they made too. You don't, as a bank, replace a person who's worth 35 billion, because what Mr. Adelson had also promised, according to his chief operating officer, Rob Goldstein, was to cover all um, um, cost overruns involved and any all off-site infrastructure costs. All those were going to be paid for by Mr. Adelson. By contrast, Bank of America's Elliot McCabe, who is the banker for the Raiders, told me personally, directly, and specifically that they were not going to do that. The Bank of America was not covering cost overruns. Bank of America was not going to be responsible for financing off-site infrastructure improvements. The loan structure, as I was told by Mr. McCabe, is exactly the same as the one done for Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. There's one difference. The Raiders financing is $600 million, not including interest, which I believe the interest rate is LIBOR. LIBOR is London Interbank Rate. And the Mercedes-Benz financing is $850 million. Okay. Whereas the Raiders is $600 million, to repeat myself. Corey Brown says, I never thought the Raiders should go to Vegas, but now that my drive to games will be cut in half, being in Tampa versus Stockton, happy and not happy. Tempe. He's in Tempe, Arizona. Happy and not happy. This is experiment. There are a lot of issues with what they're going to do. Among them, how the hell can you talk about playing games in Las Vegas without a true infrastructure plan to handle the traffic? Note that there has been as much talk as there has been about parking. Even that has been reckless. There has been no talk about the off-site infrastructure changes that were going to be done at the behest of a report written by Kim Lee Horn. Remember that one? And that clocks in, if I'm not mistaken, at around $300 million. So you start looking at this thing, as I do, I'm thinking, wow, this is a money pit. Okay? Marco Romero says, Vegas is the city for entertainment capital of the world. Yeah, but here's the problem, Mario. And it's a gigantic problem, okay? And Joseph Armendura says, I feel the same, Corey, but I still think they should have stayed in Oakland or California. I still believe, I'd still tell you the Raiders would have come out better financially with a Coliseum. And because the entertainment capital of the world is being harmed, not just by the proliferation of gambling outfits, not just by the internet, but the simple fact that the very device that you're probably using to watch this live stream, smartphone, and that I'm using to make the live stream, all right, is also hurting the entertainment capital because people are less likely to want to travel. That's the problem. What's happening in Las Vegas is a slow roll version of what happened to Reno. The difference is that Reno did not have the economic development foresight to wholesale move into sports. Okay. And see Mario, who's obviously new to this channel, doesn't understand how the Zinsters think. Zinsters. When we hear that, what's our response? Our response is you have to think in terms of dynamics. That is change. He throws out a number, right? Anybody can throw out a number. He says, oh, 42.9 million people travel to Vegas a year. Actually, you're obviously not aware of how the visitation rates have stagnated since 2016, 2017, and they've gone down. They've stagnated and gone down. Okay. So you can't, and you shouldn't make the mistake that the consultants did, that Jeremy Arguillo did, when he said that, the pure and simple that the rate of revenue from the hotel tax is going to go up and cover it. It's, not, okay? Hey, Mario, I'm not going to debate you. You're wrong. All right? You're just straight up wrong. Okay, because everybody knows it's the problem. Las Vegas has had a visitation problem on a monthly basis starting June of 2017. And it had nothing to do with the October shooting. Like I say, you're new here. I think if you're new here, at least you seem to be new here. If you're a repeat of somebody else who was here, I'm going to say, you know what, go. But because I don't like that. My whole point is, no. Anyway, I want to go on with the other ones. Willie Wayne says, should have stayed in Oakland. Yeah. But, oh, you know what? There is one thing I wanted to show while we're on this matter of lesson in economic development, okay? But my whole point is this. Whenever, let's see here. Oh, there it is, Las Vegas Stadium. Oh. Hey, you know what? Stadium. Las Vegas visitors. Bureau. Cool. Okay. Current programs. Stats and facts. Visitor statistics. Okay. That's the executive summary for that. Okay. We have convention attendance. That's for December. Now, let's see here. Open it with that. I won't let me open with the right one. Other. Let's see here. Bear with me, folks. Finding the right tool for the right job. And voila. The right tool for the right job. Okay. Let's see here. Here is, going down here. Look at this, okay? This was last year. See, this says change from previous year, visitor volume, all right? Okay, and then negative, and then negative again, okay? Over the previous year, all right? So that's my point. It's been going back and forth. See, it's increase, then 0.07. Okay, then slight increases, and then it's a decrease again. And December was a nice rebound from the previous year, but overall, just 1%. Just 1%. Now, here's the problem. When you're talking about hotel, stadium, and tax revenue, and you're telling the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Committee that you're expecting rates of growth by 8% per year, that tells everybody that you were wrong. And that's what the Las Vegas Stadium Authority is facing, okay? That's that. So there's clearly a problem here. And what happened was that prior to, for those of you who've been following this, back to the SNTIC meeting starting in 2015, you know that the forecasts for visitor volume were past this. It was like 44 million. This is not hitting it, okay? And they had the arrows going north like that, but in reality, what's going on is they went up and they stopped. They stagnated, okay? So it's clearly a problem, and it's ongoing problem. It's an ongoing problem. When the Stadium Authority tells you that they have enough money to pay their bond issue, what no one ever asks them is, hey, did you take the bond debt service and multiply it times 1.5 to 1 or just 1.5? Why? Because that's called your debt coverage ratio. That's how you determine if you really have enough money to pay for your bond issue. And folks, after the year 4, they don't. I've already ran through those numbers. I have a gigantic spreadsheet that shows that. They don't. So, all right. So, yeah, Corey, I'm glad you talked about the price gouging. It's the price gouging. Vital Vegas Scott Robeson has done a great job of illuminating this problem over the years. It's this nickel and diming, nickel and diming. Have to find something all the time, all right? Nickel and diming, okay? Nickel and diming, all right? So, if you have other cities where you and I can go to and gamble for less, and they're amazing attractions, it takes away from Vegas. I want you to see what I'm talking about in the phase, of the Guitar Hotel. You've got to see this. If you've never seen it, you're not living. It is Hard Rock Hollywood Guitar Hotel. This is it. Bam. Okay, that's it. 1,500,638 luxury guest rooms. I mean, just rooms and suites, King, Platinum, Deluxe. Not just has amenities, but look at, you see that? And during the night, these strings are also lasers that point high into the air. Okay. The Guitar Hotel. And again, this is in Hollywood, Florida. This is not in Las Vegas, but this is the kind of hotel that could just as easily have been and would have been in Las Vegas in the past. This is a Vegas level facility. I've been here. It is lavish. This competes and allows Miami area to compete with Vegas. All this pulls. So encapsulated in those visitor numbers, those stagnant levels, growing competitors like that. Okay. All right. Talk about the combine. Shift gears and talk about the combine. And so NFL Combine is starts. Well, there are people who are already there as of today. My plan was to go early Wednesday morning, but there's a problem which may cause me to cancel my trip. It's called snow. It is forecast to snow here. It's not snowing here yet. It's forecast to snow there. Um, so I have to make my decision. Mario says I would love to go there instead of Vegas. um, uh, I was thinking about it, but there's a lot to be said for going to the combine for several days. That was my original plan. But I'll sort it out because if I decide not to go, I've got to cancel my hotel before I have a 24-hour outside window to do so. Um, to see what happens. Now, a lot of people are talking about the Raiders and what they need, and they say wide receiver and this whole which wide receiver should the Raiders choose from? In the first round. I say, you know what? Forget offense for the first round. Let me show you why. This is not the only play, but this is a play, okay, that on top of the fact, I don't think, hold on a second, I'll get to that in a second. Let me tell you why I don't have much thought in either one. In fact, I have zero. This is the Jacksonville game. And the Raiders, this is the coaching's film, okay? And this is, as you can see, Jaguars in shotgun, but I want you to watch what happens. Wide receiver and this defensive back's reaction. Oops, excuse me. Oh. There. Here we go. Okay. See how he gets, see that? Boom, burned. All right. Burned city. Burned. Here comes the coach's angle. Right here. Look to the right. Look to your right. Look to the right, okay? Burned. Let's come back to that. Let's look at it again. The Raiders had a five-man rush. They shifted at the last minute. Here it comes. We see that. Look, he gets burned, right? Folks, sometimes, sure, you can say maybe they should have blitzed an extra person. Or let's say you say, okay, they should have tried bump and run. Hey, you know what? Playing bump and run against a bunch is very difficult to do. Your better bet is to blitz. And the Raiders were just about to get to Mr. Minshew. Okay, right here. Okay, right there. See that? We're just about to nail him. But you see here? Open, right? Watch. At this point, he had already made the catch, and look, he just runs right by him. Gone. Okay? Boom. See that? Okay? See it again? I mean, he just got burned on his route. He was acting like, you could say he was acting like he was playing a zone. But to me, he was acting like this guy was just playing flat out faster than he. Period. End of story. Okay? So at some point, you have to say, all right, where's my personnel issue? And we saw it. That dude got burned. So you need somebody back there who's fast enough to cover. There you go. All right, folks, I promised myself I was going to quit at this point, and I am. But I think Raiders need to go after a cornerback and defensive tackle. And their offensive issues are eye contained, scheme oriented. Uh, you can manufacture speed at the wide receiver position. They have a problem with space, the Raiders do, or they don't use it well. Okay. Willie Rain says, yeah, the Raiders need defensive superstars. Like you were asking me about Judy, and I'm not convinced the Raiders need a wide receiver enough for me to care who the better route runner is. Um, and I don't even evaluate that way because I look at tapes in terms of how well the person does against another defender, not so much a route runner, because I want to know, like for example, with Cortland Sutton. What impressed me about Cortland Sutton at SMU when I was watching it is he's a big body guy who can turn his body between the defender and himself in the red zone. He was a consistent red zone threat, and that's what I loved about him. That's why I said to Reggie McKenzie, you need to get Cortland Sutton. I think the Raiders on offense can get away with what someone might consider to be a mediocre wide receiver, especially since the real big need, literally, are for big, fast tight ends. There's still a need for the Gronkowski types or the Aaron Hernandez types. Rest in peace. Okay, that that door hasn't closed. Or Darren Waller, right? That door hasn't closed. So if for my money, that's what I'm thinking about. The question is, what kind of offense does Gruden want to play? It's one thing to say he needs this, but the question is, what does he want to do schematically? If you understand what he wants to do schematically, then you can understand what's better, right? But my contention, just looking at the film, you know what? You need to focus on finding some defensive playmakers, people who are bona fide playmakers at the college level, who are cornerbacks and defensive tackles, and then put them in there. The last time the Raiders tried to get a bona fide defensive tackle who was a playmaker, they went cheap. Remember Maurice Hurst, right? And he's a fifth round pick, and he did okay, all right. But I'm not. I'll tell you who. You know what? You know who should be a Raider? I will tell you. I will give you the name of the person who should be a Raider. Um, straight up, and that is. I had my list open here. Here it is. Okay, the person who should be the Raider, a Raider, excuse me, is now. I like Jerry Jeudy as a wide receiver. He's also Lee Steinberg's client, but Lee is my friend. But Trayvon Diggs from Alabama, listen to this. Trayvon Diggs, he's a 6'2", 200-pound corner. Okay? 6'2", 200 pounds. And so he's big. And we'll find out what his 40 time clocks out to be. But I would be surprised if he was. Let me see what he is. Hold on a second. In this day and age, one shouldn't have to guess, right? But Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs is the person that I want to see the Raiders go. 40 time. Okay. 40-yard 4 yard dash. Okay. Trayvon Diggs, well, he's predicting that Henry Ruggs the third will run a 4.240. That's another one. Um, that's elite speed. Uh, now, here's the thing. Let me ask you, why not? I mean, if you're talking about wide receivers, why don't you just wait until the second round or lower round and get Henry Ruggs? If that guy's going to run a 4.240, Raiders, okay? But I want Trayvon Diggs. I want Trayvon Diggs to be my corner. He's one of the top players in the draft. Okay? Period. End of story. So Trayvon, they're predicting a low 4.4340. Cool. All right. Cool. So, all right. That's what I want. Yeah, exactly. Right. 4.240. The last person who was that fast was John Ross, who wound up going to the Bengals. All right. And so Henry Ruggs, I don't believe. Let's see here. Henry Ruggs is your 31st best player in the Draft Tech 2020 draft board. 6', 183, junior. He is the 31st best player. So when you look at that, what that tells you, he's a low first round pick, second round. So he's somebody that the Raiders could definitely get. Could definitely get him. But the other guy that I think the Raiders should get, man, is Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, Derek Brown, and his band of renown, Derek Brown of Auburn. 6'5", 318-pound senior, can wreck your offensive line. This guy would make this guy is the next Mean Joe Green. He will be better. Nah, that's stretching it. He'll make a number of people think of Warren Sapp. Okay. How fast is Casey Hill? Hold on a second. Let me get that for you. Casey Hill. Casey Hill 40 time. He's said to clock in at hold on a second. I'm getting a wait a minute. He was gonna say there is no Casey Hill. I mean, they're coming in the draft. So there's Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill's speed was equal to Mr. Diggs speed. Okay, Mr. Ruggs speed. I'm sorry, Mr. Ruggs speed. Okay, oh, don't worry about it. Yeah. Mr. Ruggs speed is about where Tyreek Hill is. So basically, my point is, if I'm looking to get an equalizer, hey John, how you doing? If I'm looking to get an equalizer for Tyreek Hill, bingo, I'm getting me. I'm going after straight up, this dude, man. All right, straight up Henry Ruggs. I'm going after Henry Ruggs. All right, folks, it's 12:05. I'm off. I'll see you all tomorrow. And thanks again. And remember, my new website, Riggs, is 6 foot. Let me see here. Riggs is approximately 6 feet. Yeah, good night. Riggs is 6 feet tall. Now, Trayvon Diggs is 6'2", man. That's a big corner. A big corner, you're going to 4.3 40. Okay. We got to have some playmakers back there. No, not at all. All right, hey, good night, everybody. I'll see you. Thanks again.